The Semiotic Emotional Living Framework in Self, a 900-word exploration of philosophy, lore, and the construction of identity. The human experience is a tapestry woven from threads of emotion, symbolism, and cultural conditioning. At the heart of this complexity lies the Semiotic Emotional Living Framework, Self, a philosophical and psychological model that reveals how individuals and societies construct meaning, identity, and shared realities. Self bridges the abstract and the tangible, the personal and the collective, by examining how we interpret signs, navigate cultural narratives, and negotiate agency within systems of power. To fully grasp its implications, we must journey through the ideas of philosophers like Plato, Nietzsche, Gramsci, Marx, and Walter Benjamin, explore the role of anthropologists like Victor Turner and Clifford Geertz, and witness how artists, religions, and fandoms use lore to craft immersive Lebenswelten, life worlds that shape our emotional and social existence. Plato's Cave and the Shadows of Culture. Let us begin with Plato, whose allegory of the cave serves as a foundational metaphor for self. Plato envisioned a world where individuals are chained in a cave, mistaking shadows on a wall for reality. These shadows, cast by a fire they cannot see, represent the cultural norms, symbols, and ideologies that condition our understanding of ourselves and the world. For self, the cave is our Lebenswelt, the constructed reality we inhabit, shaped by the stories, rituals, and emotional frameworks of our culture. But Plato's cave is not a prison without escape. The philosopher who breaks free and sees the light of truth embodies the individual's capacity for self-reflection and critical reinterpretation. This mirrors self's emphasis on agency. We are not passive recipients of cultural conditioning, but active interpreters of emotional and symbolic signs. The shadows on the wall, whether they take the form of religious dogma, political ideologies, or media narratives, are not fixed. They are dynamic, open to reinterpretation through the lens of personal experience. Nietzsche, the Übermensch, and the will to power. Friedrich Nietzsche sharpens this idea of agency. His concept of the Übermensch, the self-created individual who transcends societal norms, challenges the herd mentality that uncritically absorbs cultural values. Nietzsche viewed morality, religion, and even language as constructs designed to control and homogenize. Yet, he also believed in the will to power, not as domination over others, but as the creative force to redefine one's values and emotional landscape. For self, Nietzsche's philosophy underscores the tension between cultural conditioning and individual agency. Emotions like guilt, joy, or resentment are not innate. They are shaped by the stories we inherit. Yet, through acts of reinterpretation, what Nietzsche called revaluation of all values, we can transform these emotional signs into tools of empowerment. A modern example might be the LGBTQ+ community reclaiming slurs like queer, turning symbols of oppression into badges of pride. Gramsci, Marx, and the politics of culture. But culture is not merely a playground for individual reinvention. It is also a battlefield. Antonio Gramsci introduced the concept of cultural hegemony, the process by which ruling classes maintain power by shaping ideologies, rituals, and norms. Schools, media, and religious institutions become tools to naturalize dominant values, ensuring compliance without coercion. For self, this reveals the political dimension of emotions. What we feel, whether shame, ambition, or solidarity, is often a reflection of hegemonic systems. Karl Marx complements this with his base/superstructure model, arguing that economic systems, the base, shape cultural narratives, the superstructure. Capitalism, for instance, cultivates emotions like alienation through labor exploitation and consumerist desire through advertising. Yet Marx also believed in the revolutionary potential of collective action. Self aligns here. Emotions like class solidarity or hope for equity can fuel counter-hegemonic movements, challenging the status quo. Walter Benjamin and the Aura of Modern Lore. Walter Benjamin bridges the gap between traditional and modern forms of cultural conditioning. In the work of art, in the age of mechanical reproduction, he lamented the loss of the aura, the unique presence of an artwork rooted in ritual and tradition, as capitalism turned culture into a mass-produced commodity. Yet Benjamin also saw potential in new media, like film, to create shared emotional experiences. For Self, Benjamin's insights illuminate the modern Lebenswelt. Traditional lore, myths, religious parables, folk tales has been supplanted by secular myths, superhero franchises, celebrity culture, and viral memes. These new narratives generate collective emotions on a global scale. Consider the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, a sprawling modern mythos that blends heroism, moral dilemmas, and spectacle. Fans don't just watch these stories. They inhabit them through cosplay, fan fiction, and conventions, creating a participatory Lebenswelt that rivals religious communities. Rituals, liminality, and the power of fandoms. Anthropologists like Victor Turner and Clifford Geertz deepen our understanding of how lore operates. Turner's concept of liminality, a transitional state where social hierarchies dissolve, explains the transformative power of rituals. In religious pilgrimages, rites of passage, or even fan conventions, individuals step outside their daily roles to experience communal bonding and symbolic rebirth. Geertz, meanwhile, described culture as a web of meaning decoded through symbols. For Self, this web is spun from emotional signs. A crucifix evokes sacrifice, a national flag stirs patriotism, a superhero emblem inspires hope. Fandoms like Star Wars or Harry Potter exemplify this. Fans internalize lore, for example, Jedi codes, Hogwarts houses, to construct identities and moral frameworks. Live-action role-playing, LARP, takes this further, creating temporary Lebenswelten, where participants embody elves, wizards, or rebels, experimenting with alternative selves and social norms. Religions as proto-fandoms, lore and lived reality. Religions are the original fandoms, using myth and ritual to codify Lebenswelten. The Exodus story in Judaism, the Ramayana in Hinduism, or the parables of Jesus are not mere tales, but lived realities that shape emotions, ethics, and community. Rituals like communion, Ramadan fasting, or Diwali festivals sustain these narratives, embedding them in daily life. In Self, this mirrors how modern fandoms operate. Consider Jediism, a movement inspired by Star Wars, which adopts the Jedi Code as a moral philosophy. Similarly, Burning Man festivals blend art, ritual, and temporary community building to create utopian Lebenswelten. These phenomena reveal a universal human need to live within stories that provide meaning, belonging, and a sense of transcendence. Artists as architects of emotional worlds. Artists play a pivotal role in shaping Self's framework. J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings ** constructed a mythopoeic universe so immersive that fans learn Elvish languages and map Middle-earth's geography. Banksy's street art subverts cultural symbols, like ripping a heart-shaped balloon from a girl's hand to critique consumerism and apathy. Oni Morrison's novels, such as Beloved, excavate collective trauma and memory, showing how history shapes emotional identity. These artists exemplify Self's core premise. Symbols are not passive. They are tools for reflection, resistance, and reimagination. When Yayoi Kusama creates infinity mirror rooms, she dissolves the boundary between self and cosmos, evoking a universal emotional language. When Ai Weiwei installs thousands of backpacks to commemorate earthquake victims, he transforms grief into a collective cry for justice. Conclusion: the dance of self and society. The semiotic emotional living framework, Self, is ultimately about the dance between individual and collective identity. We are born into a world of pre-existing signs, Plato's shadows, Gramsci's hegemonies, Marx's superstructures. Yet we possess Nietzschean agency to reinterpret them. Our emotions are both personal and political, shaped by cultural conditioning, but open to transformation. Religions and fandoms reveal this duality. They show how lore can be a tool of control, for example, dogmatic doctrines, or liberation, for example, fan-led reinterpretations. Walter Benjamin's aura may be diluted in the digital age, but new forms of collective meaning-making arise. TikTok trends, virtual reality role-playing, and global activist movements like Black Lives Matter. In the end, Self teaches us that we are both authors and characters in the stories we inhabit. The challenge, and the opportunity, is to recognize the shadows on the wall, to question their origins, and to wield the semiotic tools of our culture with intention. Whether through philosophy, art, or fandom, we can craft Lebenswelten that honor both our individuality and our interconnectedness, forging emotional landscapes that are as resilient as they are revelatory.